Hi guys, welcome to Yoga with Rex. So today I'd like to talk a bit about chakras and specifically Muladhara chakra. So if you like this video, please do subscribe and like and find more of my videos that I'm going to be doing on chakras and spiritual growth over the next few weeks. So before we talk about Muladhara chakra in particular, I think we just need to talk about chakras and the energy systems of the body in general. So we have three energy systems in the body. We have our aura, our outer energy system, which is the interface with the world and our reality. We have the chakras, which translates to spinning wheel, which are kind of like substations that step down the energy as it comes into the body into a more usable form and vibrational energy, and also send energy out into our aura and out into our world and reality. And then the energy that comes in through the chakras and the energy that we get through food and prana, breath, flows around and through the body, animating us in what's often called meridians in Chinese medicine and nadi in yoga and more Indian traditions. So the chakras very much relate to the endocrine system, so the glands and the hormones of the body. We have two information systems in the body. First one being the nervous system, which is electrical based and very fast. You put your hand in a flame, the message goes to the brain, back to the hand, move your hand very, very quickly. Whereas the hormonal system, the glands tend to secrete the hormones just generally into the bloodstream, and then it's just potluck that they float around the body and eventually find a receptor. They're kind of like keys that move into a lock. And then very often that is a cascade reaction where one hormone triggers the release of another hormone and another hormone. And eventually you get these chemical changes in the body. Some hormones work quite quickly, like adrenaline, noradrenaline, and others can take years and years to build up, like the sex hormones, leading to adolescence in teenage years. So the hormones very much relate to our health and well-being, because when our hormones are out of balance, everything's out of balance. Insulin, obviously a hormone that controls our sugar levels, and other hormones that control all sorts of body regulations. So the chakras very much can have an effect on our health and well-being. And they're like these pranic centers where energy comes in and out of the body, and they can get blocked and stuck and not flow properly, and then slowly have an effect on more of the physical side of the body. These chakras very much are related to awareness and perception and how we see the world. And I love the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, because it's very symbolic of the chakras to me. Adam and Eve were living in the Garden of Eden in bliss, in this heavenly state. And the garden is symbolic of the world. And then they ate the forbidden fruit, and their awareness changed. It came down into the lower chakras, where it was all about survival, about protecting, about having to work hard and seeing the world as the life as a hardship. Whereas before they were living in their higher chakras. It wasn't that the Garden of Eden changed and that their world changed. It was that their perception and their reality and their identification with the world is what changed. And there's lots of other symbolic things in this story. The tree represents the Sushumna channel, which is this core channel that is kind of like the pranic level of the nervous system and the spinal cord. And this is called the Sushumna channel, or in Chinese medicine, the Chongmai channel. So this primordial awareness that can lift our awareness up into the higher chakras, so we start to see the world differently, is represented very often by a snake, and has the term kundalini. And of course there's the snake in the story of Adam and Eve as well. So this kundalini is represented in all sorts of lineages and historically throughout time in all cultures. Egyptians used to wear a snake in their headdress. Moses had a staff that turned into a snake. There's so much symbolicness in the snake and the kundalini. Very often it's portrayed as sometimes a snake with looking down, or maybe its tail in its mouth, which means that we are asleep we're awake to the world and asleep to our own nature and reality. And sometimes the snake is looking up, which shows that we're beginning to have and awareness that there's much more to our self-identity and our reality than we first perceive. So the Garden of Eden is very symbolic, and when we're living in Muladhara Chakra, we are living instinctively. It's all about survival. It's about coping and having an environment where we feel safe, getting food, shelter, warmth, clothing. It's we kind of try to feel safer through our community, our family, gathering material comforts around us. Everything is very much materialistic and a fight to survive when we're living in Muladhara Chakra. Very much based around just coping, protecting, maintaining. When the chakra is balanced and strong and we're beginning to move up into the higher chakras, then we have strength and we have courage. Obviously, it's very much connected to the adrenals that sit on top of the kidneys and are to do with the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight mechanism of the body. So it can have an effect on the adrenals. The chakra point is at the perineum, which is the soft tissue between the tailbone and the scrotum for the man, and for the women it's at the very back of the cervix. And there's a thing we call Mula Bandha in yoga, where we contract the pelvic floor muscles to stimulate the root chakra and to kind of create a bind or a seal so that we can hold in this pranic energy in the Sushumna channel. And it's a bit like stopping going for a wee mid-flow. You kind of contract that perineum up. At first, when you do, it's quite a gross feeling. When I say gross, I mean like the whole area, the rectum, the anus, that whole area kind of comes into contraction. But when you get a more sensitive, finite feeling for the perineum, you can just draw that perineum muscle up, sealing in this pranic energy, which is then used in tantric and pranic kriya exercises to increase the energy through the core channel and raise the kundalini up to pierce the higher chakras and open up our levels of awareness. A nice way to practice Mula Bandha to begin with is to do an inverted pose, like a shoulder stand, or just lay on your back and put your legs up against the wall, and then try and contract those pelvic floor muscles, and you'll get a real sensitivity and feel for those muscles. Another pose I really like to do it in is the tree pose. The heel comes up into the groin, reminding you to pull up Mula Bandha, and we also draw in Uddiyana Bandha when we do that, which we'll talk about when we do Manipura Chakra, and that activates our whole core and lower body. And also the turtle pose is a really nice pose where you can start to practice drawing up the perineum and activating Mula Bandha. So in Genesis, it's in 28:12, he dreamed and beheld a ladder set on the earth, and the top of it reached heaven, and behold the angels ascending and descending, which again is this Sushumna channel and these chakras being represented. In Shakespeare, As You Like It, Act 2, the 7 ages through which men must pass. So there's an awful lot of symbology about the 7 chakras, 7 days in a week. And we live through our chakras at different stages of our life. And I've made a little note here to explain it better. So for the first 7 years, we're living through our root chakra. And in the first year, from 0 to 1, we're living through the root chakra and the root chakra. And then each year we move up through a secondary chakra and stay in our primary chakra for 7 years. So from the age of 1 to 2, we're in our root chakra primarily, but our sexual chakra secondly. And then from 2 to 3, root chakra and solar plexus chakra. From 3 to 4, root chakra and heart chakra. And so we move up through the throat, through the third eye, through the crown. Then from the age of 7 to 8, we've moved primarily into our sexual chakra and our root chakra. And this very much relates to the development of children, and adolescence when we're in the sexual chakra, in our teenage years, you know, that midlife crisis that we get in middle age. And so when you know and work out what year your chakras are working on, it gives you an idea of where you can sort of focus your spiritual growth in those areas, whether you're in your third eye and it's all about being intuitive and creative and manifesting, or whether you're in your heart chakra and it's about working on your self-identity, self-acceptance and unconditional love and empathy for others. So you can work out which chakra you're in through your age and then work at a spiritual level through your chakras. So if you've enjoyed this video on Muladhara Chakra, please do like and subscribe. We have regular yoga classes and meditation workshops on Zoom, so please find me, message me, Rexwellbeing on Facebook, as well as yoga with Rexwellbeing on YouTube. So namaste, stay safe.